Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, first things first, we have a camera again. So at last I managed to get my camera sorted, get a new one, get it all sorted. So hopefully I'll actually be able to bring you guys content with even better picture quality than I've ever had before. But we also have the first ever event for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Now, to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting this to come up so quickly, nor did I expect what this banner would contain, and I don't know how I feel about this, but the first content for Ever Crisis contains Wet T-Shirt Tifa. I really wish I was kidding with this. So, despite the fact that Square Enix and Applebot clearly know the kind of audience they're going for when it comes to a gacha game like FF7 Ever Crisis, this is exactly the kind of thing that does not appeal to me in the slightest. And we also have topless Zack in this event as well, and people are like, yeah, but you've got him, and I'm like, no. I'm not here for the horny. That's not what I'm here for when it comes to these games. But let's take a look at what the event brings along and what the weapons and the gear do for Tifa and also Red 13, who gets his own gear too. So here we have Lifeguard Wraps, which is the 5-star weapon that's here for Tifa and is featured on this banner. And interestingly, it's actually a healing style weapon for Tifa, giving healing waves, which is a AoE heal, which if you watched my reroll video is something that I recommend that people pick up. However, you'll notice that it's actually weaker than what you could get from either Matt or Aerith's AoE heal. So why would you want this? If you look here, you'll notice that it only costs 4 ATB bars instead of 5. So despite the fact that it is weaker, it's actually stronger than you would get from Aerith or Matt on the basis of the fact that she will trigger it more frequently. The only thing that I will point out here when it comes to this game, and something that really is a bit of a red flag for me and something that worries me, is that if you look here at the various stats, so you'll see physical attack, magical attack, healing capabilities, this is the stats at max level you would have if you only had 1 copy of the weapon. These are the stats that you would have if you had 6 copies of the weapon, or like plus 6, so it's actually 7 copies of the weapon. And you can see quite how exponentially the stats are raised with multiple copies of the weapon. You'll also notice that the healing waves becomes healing waves plus, and you'll get an additional sort of percentile increase on the healing that you get from this weapon, as well as the passive abilities also being stronger. And then this is obviously increased again at plus 10, but the incremental difference isn't quite as big as it was for plus 6. Apart from the fact you get healing waves plus, which is another incremental increase on how much healing that you're getting. So do bear that in mind when going for some of these weapons, because this jump is huge. So dupes are going to be quite important in this game. So if you're going to go in on a banner, you probably going to go in hard on it. Lifeguard, which is the costume name that you get for Tifa here, simply increases her HP and her healing capabilities. Now, Tifa's not typically known as a healer. So far up until this point in this game, she's actually a debuffer, which does kind of go quite well if you think about it with the healing that she has here. You can kind of turn her into a support outright because her limit breaks lower defenses. Some of her weapons lower their attacking stats. So if you've got a combination of attacking stat lowering and then healing, she actually provides quite strong support. And if you have this costume, then you could probably go out of your way to do that. I'm not sure I would want to go for this if I've gone for Aerith or Matt in my rerolls previously. Not because it isn't better, because it is. It's if I already have this stuff and I have an AoE heal at the ready, then I'm not sure I'm willing to go in on 6 copies of this weapon straight away while the game is still so young. You could, if you are still in the process of re-rolling and you want a strong weapon to go for, support characters tend to be stronger in the long run than sort of DPS characters because they're just a dime a dozen. But again, with the game being as young as it is, it's very hard to say. But having a healing attack that goes off so frequently is a nice thing to have. So now we have Red 13 here in his little Aloha outfit. I'm not entirely sure why my game is glitching out as much as it is, so do forgive me for that. But we have his seaside collar, which presents him with an attack that very much requires that you have a different weapon to go with it, which is cheeky. So Power Fang is a physical non-elemental damage dealing with a crit rate of 10% and reduces thunder resistance to the enemies. with a middling potency. You can actually get thunder resist down from certain materia, so you can get some of that from that, but what this weapon wants is for you to already have access to Cloud's Murasame weapon from the initial rolls, so that you have something to take advantage of the thunder resist down. And it boosts his HP and his lightning potency. It also gives him regen as well. So there's a lot of different effects here, but the thing with Red 13 in this game so far is that he kind of doesn't have much of an identity like a lot of the other characters do. So Cloud very much is a single target damage dealer, Aerith very much a healer. There's some weird things going on here, like Tifa being a healer on top of her offensive debuff, but those two things kind of make sense together. Barret, very much an AoE damage dealer. You can get like various mix and match things in this game, and I don't claim to know everything about the game yet because of its youth and the fact that I, don't know everything. Within 4 or 5 days of playing the game, I can only give very vague opinions on what I can see based on other games that I've played. I think that because this is kind of required to have Murasame alongside it, I would see this as no more than a bonus if you're happening to go for Tifa for her healing capabilities and you happen to already have Cloud's Murasame weapon. His gear, Sigh and Aloha, boosts HP and physical attack, which again, it's cute, but a lot of Red 13 stuff is magic based, so maybe this is something that you'd want to invest in for the future, but it's definitely not something I would go out of my way for. Overall, at this present moment in time, I'm not pulling on this banner, and I'm doing so because I kind of want to see where the game is going, and I may change my mind if I decide that having that lower ATB heal is as valuable as it could be, but the banner's going to be alive for 2 weeks, so till the 28th of September. There may be other banners that come around past this, and I have an AoE healer in Aerith with her Fairy Tail weapon that I already like, so I can use her for now until I start seeing where the landscape of the game is going and whether I need that additional healer. But I do like the fact that she has a potent sort of debuffing skill set alongside that low ATB heal. Red 13 I'm not so impressed by, purely because he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. He just does a little bit of everything, which in a game like this just doesn't really perform very well. So if I'm re-rolling, I would probably consider going for Tifa over Cloud because damage dealers are so frequent. But if you happen to get Cloud with Murasame, he does far and away more damage than anybody else in the game right now. So that's going to be a choice thing. It's down to you. The event itself is actually kind of cute, I'm not going to lie. The Beach Festival fun. So if you've played any other Final Fantasy style gacha game, you'll probably know what to expect from an event like this. So you'll get bosses in this summer setting, which is an adorable tombery made of watermelons. It's really cute. And little story cutscenes that do actually hint at some other summer costumes coming around, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them. And they're part of the reason that I'm not pulling for Tifa right away, because one of them appears to be Aerith, and I want to see what they do with her. But you'll just go through these missions, either single player or co-op, and you'll finish these missions here, and you'll be able to obtain Zack's costume, which is his, like, Crisis Core beach outfit, as well as weapons that you can get for him that increase your attack and defenses for Zack really heavily. So it's actually not a bad thing for people to get hold of this early on in the game, because you can get a lot of copies of this weapon very quickly, especially if you've got somebody in co-op who's able to carry you through the initial stages of the missions. And then because you're also able to get, I've already picked it up, so it's going to be right at the bottom here, you can get hold of the Tropical Beach outfit, which again boosts Zack HP and defense and is another thirsty costume for those that are into that. And you kind of just like keep repeating these missions over and over again to obtain these materials, which you then exchange for other items. So you get some gacha tickets, you get memory crystals, which are used to augment the characters, weapon parts, which kind of take the place of duplicates of other weapons. So these are going to be important to pick up. And then nanocube models, which are or genome pods and nanocube models, which are used to increase the level cap at higher stages of your various weapons. So these are all going to be useful. But if you do all of these enough, then you're going to get all of these pieces anyway. But if I'm going to prioritize anything, I would prioritize the costume, the beach parasols themselves, and the Zack specific weapon parts and the memories. Like, those are the things you're going to want to actively go for. The draw tickets are nice, but they only pull from the general pool, so you're not going to be able to get copies of these featured weapons or anything from them. So yeah, absolutely go for them, because, you know, pulling is the name of the game. But they're actually not as big a deal as the other stuff around them. Overall, like I said very early on when I started doing videos for this game, and I'm very grateful to everyone that is watching the videos I've made for this, I'm very much approaching this game with trepidation. Like, there's a lot of red flags in this game that I'm not very sure about so far. There are things that I really enjoy about it. The fact that it's dived into, like, quite such, like, heavy-handed fan service quite so quickly is something that is a little bit of a, ooh, no, I'm not sure about this, for me personally. But I know that people are probably going to read me to filth in the comments and saying, it's like, oh no, but, you know, I want the Tifa fan service. I know it works. I'm not a prude. Like, I'm one of these people, you ask me in real life, I am most definitely not a prude. But when it comes to stuff, I feel like it's a cheap shot, and therefore I'm not very impressed with it. So I'm not going to be pulling for Tifa's costume on principle more than anything. I think that, I hope that Final Fantasy VII was better than that, if I'm perfectly honest. And it sounds really silly because I know that Tifa is a fan service character for a lot of people as it is, but that's kind of just my opinion on it, and I am happy with the gear that I've got, and I'm happy to kind of continue saving where possible. But I do think that the weapon may well be very useful in the future. The event itself, it's a lot of repetition. I've still yet to see any kind of content that wants me to actively play the game. Like, it's all very auto heavy. There's a lot of like idle gaming, which I don't actually mind. I do enjoy idle games, but at some point I'd like to see some challenge that isn't just, I need to have my power level at the right level. I need to have the stat and the micromanagement that just lets me auto through everything. I like a little bit of strategy. I like a little bit of, oh, you have to time your attacks of when you're doing, or like what you want to do and when. And I haven't seen that from this game yet, which concerns me for its longevity. But lots of people are very into this game right now. I'm quite happy to do coverage for it until like I make a decision either way, whether I'm loving it or I'm maybe not so sure on it. But let me know in the comments below what you think of Ever Crisis as a whole and what you think of this event, because I reckon I'm probably the only person on the planet that looks at this and goes, really? So that's it for my thoughts on this first summer event for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Like I said earlier, let me know in the comments below what you think of the game as a whole, what you think of the events, whether you're enjoying the content I'm putting out. I am not going to be making this game the sole source of my content. Absolutely not. I've got reviews for various games that I'm quite excited to showcase coming up as well, so I want to continue to kind of go down that path as well. So definitely subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications if you want to see other content, as well as content on Ever Crisis coverage as well. And of course, don't forget to check out all of my social links in the description box below as well, including Twitch, where I am playing this quite a lot on Twitch at the moment, and we're kind of just like feeling our way around it as a community, and it's really nice to kind of discuss this with other people. And so if you'd like to join in with that, definitely come and find me on there. And of course, a big thank you goes out to all of my Patreons who have supported this channel through thick and thin. I'm very grateful to all of you, and as a full-time content creator, it means the absolute world to me that such wonderful people would want to support this, like my content and what I do. So thank you ever so much. If you'd like to join in with that, there's all links for that in the description box as well. So thank you very much again, and I will see you next time, everyone. Take care. Bye now.